Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley if you're new here, and in this video I wanted to share some resources I used to help my son learn how to read. If you hear some baby noises in the background, that is because my daughter is playing over there and she's making a lot of noise, so I apologize in advance for that. So my son is 5 and is currently doing preschool at home. We are homeschooling. This is our first year. He is currently reading 3-letter words only, so he's only at the very beginning stages of learning to read, so I just wanted to put that out there. So I thought I would share chronologically sort of through his life what we've done to get him to the point he's at now. And the first thing that I thought of when I was thinking about things that we've done to help him get ready to read was we've read to him a lot throughout the years. We started reading to him probably when he was 9 months to a year-ish. We bought him some really simple Lift the Flap board books that he loved at that age. I think this set a good foundation for him, and I've heard that this is the first step in getting your child to read, is to read to them often. So the next thing that we did, probably around age 3.5 or 4-ish, we got this game for him, Alphabet Bingo. This helped him recognize uppercase letters. I would say he learned almost all of his uppercase letters, honestly, just by playing that game. He wasn't always able to pick up the letter unless he was playing that game, because there are little pictures next to him, and that helped him remember what letter it was. So if he saw the letter apart from the game, he wasn't always able to tell what it was, but that really set another good foundation for him learning his letters. Like I said, he knew almost all of his uppercase letters before we even started preschool because of that game. So that game is an awesome resource. I'll link anything that I can down below if you're interested in any of these things. So then the next thing that leads us to when we started preschool, and we decided we would start homeschooling preschool to see how it went. And before I knew that you could buy like curriculums for preschool, although I guess some people would consider this a curriculum, but I didn't even realize that that's what this was. I had picked up Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. Some people that I follow on YouTube had recommended this, so this was kind of, like I said before, I was fully into deciding that we were going to homeschool, so I decided, oh, we'll just try this out. At this point, my son was a little over 4.5, but it did not go well, honestly. He didn't like this. He found it really boring. Inside, it's just black and white, very simple. It is very easy. The reason that I am including it in this video, though, is because I think it did help him with something very simple, and we only made it through to like lesson 8 or 9, was that it taught him how to like read the letter sounds, because the way it teaches you is to start here on this little ball and to go through, and when you stop under the letter, the child is to make the letter sound and then stop when you move it. That was, I mean, something that he could have learned otherwise, but then there is also another game in here that they call Say It Fast, and you are to say a word slowly, like am, and then you tell them say it fast, and they say am. So that helped him with his blending a lot, I think, because it taught him to like hear the word slowly and then to learn to say it fast. So when we're now learning how to blend letters together, I'll say to him, say it fast, and that helps him. So even though we did not like this, it did teach him something valuable when it comes to learning to read. So then that leads me to the time when I found our curriculum, which we used Gather Round Preschool Unit 3 in the Jungle. This is what we started with about a month into preschool. So this is probably the main thing that taught him his letter sounds and recognizing uppercase and lowercase letters. This is like a full preschool curriculum if you aren't familiar with it already. It teaches letters and letter sounds. It has math in it, a little bit of social studies, and a lot of science, because you go through and you learn a lot about animals in the jungle. So I do have a review for this that I will link in the cards above if you're interested in a little bit more about it. But after we finished this, it's only 13 weeks, and then we started the 4th unit of the preschool program, which is another 13 weeks, which we're currently doing now. After we finished in the jungle, I was starting to get worried because we had gone through letters A through M. I felt like my son wasn't really grasping them. I felt like it wasn't reviewing them enough, and I started getting worried, thinking that maybe I chose the wrong curriculum. But I gave it a bit more time. We went with the 4th unit still because he really liked the format of learning this way. He was always really excited to learn about the animals and that sort of thing. So I didn't want to change it up too much on him. I have a whole update video that I'll also link below. But I had bought a different curriculum that we ended up not using to use on top of this one. It ended up being too much. But what I didn't realize was that he was actually picking it up, and in a few more weeks he was able to say the sounds a lot more clearly, and he remembered them a lot better, and I didn't really do anything different. I think he just, like, learning doesn't always happen completely linearly, and he was picking it up, and then all of a sudden he was just able to connect the dots a lot faster. But during that time, I also realized that maybe with this curriculum they had flashcards that I wasn't using, but at this point I started thinking, oh, maybe I should just do a little bit more review with him and we'll use the flashcards. And honestly, we did it a little bit, but it wasn't something that we did every day or very often, because I noticed that he was starting to remember them even without these. But that is another resource that would be helpful if you were trying to teach letter recognition or letter sounds. If you think your child would be interested in that, I feel like it could be very boring and some kids may not do very well with learning letter sounds that way. They might need it a bit more interesting. So something else that I bought around this time too was this Learn to Read activity book. I thought if we did a page out of this every day, that would also help him remember his letter sounds, because it starts off very slowly. It introduces, it's just 1 or 2 pages like this, and it helps them remember what or identify the sounds with like the words. So they have to go through the pictures and draw a line to the eye that with the words that start with the letter. And then it builds up to reading 3-letter words, and it goes through with word families, which I really liked that. It also has the same format as the 100 Easy Lessons, where you read with the balls underneath, which is really helpful. So I had put this in, but then I realized that, again, it was too much for him. We had started doing morning basket around that time, and so we were reading a bit more, and he was sitting for a bit longer. So I didn't want to like overwhelm him with too many things. So we have since put this back on the shelf for now, but I think what I'm going to do is use this during the summer to keep him fresh with his letter sounds, because I really do like this book. I think it'll be really fun to go through. He liked the few lessons that we did, and I really like how they have it set up with the word families. It also has sight words. I forgot about that, so that's pretty cool too. We'll see though how this goes, but I think that would also be a really good resource if your child knows some of their letter sounds but needs a bit more practice with it. And then the last thing I also bought around this time was the Bob Books Beginning Readers. So at this point is when I realized that he was starting to be able to read 3-letter words. So I had come across these online, and I realized once we got them that he was able to read the first 4 books out of here, which was a huge confidence boost for him, and it's been really fun to like have him read his own book. I also set up a sort of a reward system with him, that because it is a really hard work for him at this stage to just read the words, and he doesn't particularly love it. So I decided to set up a reward system where he gets a dime for every book that he reads, and then he can save up for candy or a small toy or something, and his personality works really well with that. He was super excited to do it. Now I will say he doesn't do it that often. I would have to encourage him, but it does make it more fun, and that's the goal at this age, I feel like, is to like try to keep it as fun as possible, as engaging as possible. I don't want him to think that he's not good at reading or that it's too difficult. So we're going slowly, we're like treading softly, and I don't want to overwhelm him. I think I've said that a bunch of times, but that is the idea. I want to like push him, but not too hard. So the last thing also that I want to throw in here is that he does play ABC Mouse every day for a little bit of time during quiet time, and I will say that I'm sure that probably had a bit of an effect on him learning his letters and letter sounds too, because I know that they do have some of that in there. Now, he doesn't always do that part. Like, there are other things that he can do on the app where he can read books or have books read to him and watch videos about all different topics and stuff. So he tends to do that more than he tends to like watch the videos that teach him the letter sounds and all that. But that definitely probably helped things along. So I do want to mention that. And then one last thing that I heard on a video recently that we actually haven't tried, but I think could be really helpful for other families, and I am still thinking about getting a subscription for it, is an app called Reading Eggs. It's sort of like ABC Mouse, but it's just for reading. It teaches them letter sounds, and it starts at age 3, I believe, and it goes up beyond past where we're at now. So I think that would be a really good resource to look into if you're interested in something like that, where it's a bit more hands-off, that your kid can like have fun playing with, but like I said, is hands-off, where you're not doing the teaching, just as like a backup to what you're doing as well. So that is all I have for this video. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and I will see you in the next one.